Are we live? Okay. Okay, welcome everyone. Ine Matov.
Okay, I got it.
Ine Matov Umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Ine Matov Umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Ine Matov Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Ma tov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Shabbat Shalom and welcome to those brave souls who are here on this special Shabbat. The holiday season is over. Hurricane season is not yet over, but we're getting closer. And we come together in person and on Zoom, and welcome those of you who are with us on Zoom and streaming tonight. Shabbat Shalom. I'm Rabbi Michael Feshbach. As you can see, I'm with Gilchrist's support, leading the music tonight. I'll try to sing softly when I hear you singing. Your job is to drown me out. Gilchrist Sprauve, our accompanist, welcome back. After last week, we were up at Lilienfeld, so welcome back. And to Rigo, who is streaming, thank you very much tonight. And Rigo Bel Lorad. And we welcome each other and welcome Shabbat with warmth and with light. The English reading before the candles is on page 121. Candles will be lit this night by Julie Novak.
Not too many people. 8 people.
Guess they knew the rabbi was going to sing.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Does this work?
Let me turn the
It might work, I'm just not.
Let me turn the fan down here in case it's
Coordinated.
affecting.
Nah, I'm just not coordinated.
Well, just pretend.
One of the great challenges of Jewish life.
Okay.
Da-da-da.
Give it 1 or 2. There we go.
Oh,
I
there
hope
we
that
go.
works.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
pages 124 through 127 in personal prayer. Pages 130 and 131. Kabbalat Shabbat, the Psalms with which we welcome Shabbat. From Psalm 95, Lechunu ranana l'Adonai, come, let us sing joyously to Adonai. And from Psalm 96 on 131, Shiru l'Adonai, Shir Chadash. Lechune ranena, lechune ranena, lechune ranena l'Adonai. Lechune ranena, lechune ranena, lechune ranena l'Adonai. Naria, naria, litzor yishenu, nekadma fanav betoda. Naria, naria, litzor yishenu, bizmirot naria lo. Lechune ranena, lechune ranena, lechune ranena l'Adonai. Lechune ranena, lechune ranena, lechune ranena l'Adonai. Shiru l'Adonai, shiru shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai, kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai, shiru shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai, kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai, baruchu shemo, basru miyom liyom, Yeshuato. Shiru l'Adonai, baruchu shemo, basru miyom liyom, Yeshuato. Lechune ranena, lechune ranena, lechune ranena l'Adonai. Lechune ranena, lechune ranena, lechune ranena l'Adonai. And from Psalm 99 on page 135, exalt Adonai our God and bow toward God's holy hill, Romamu Adonai Eloheinu. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romamu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romamu. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. And we turn to L'Chadodi, and I turn to my wife for some assistance. The Argentinian setting of L'Chadodi, pages 138 and 139, stanzas 1, 2, 5, and 9. And remember that when we reach stanza 9, we rise and face the entrance as we welcome the spirit of Shabbat into our midst.
I guess nobody cares.
We, oh, wait. No. My mic is,
Please rise. Page 143, towards the bottom of the page. Waking from his sleep, Jacob said, "Truly Adonai is in this place, and I did not know it." He was awestruck and said, "How awe-inspiring is this place? This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven." Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, v'alma tivrach cherutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala, ba'agala, uv'yizman kariv, v'yimeru, amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevorach, Le'olam lo me'almaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yipar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar v'yitaleh, V'yitalal Shmei Kedusha, Rechu, Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata tamiran ve'alma v'imeru. Amen. We rise for Baruch Hu, page 146. Standing, but face towards the way your seats are facing. I once said face towards each other, and people turned and faced each other literally, which is not what I meant. I meant overall face each other. The top of page 149. Together, praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars, creator of the tide of time and light. You guide the current of day into night. As heaven spanned to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim. Page 150. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai, our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Israel. Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Moshe Tevot Malchuto Leolam Ba'ad. Please be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi netzavecha ayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibartabam v'shivtecha b'veitecha Uvlechtecha v'derech, uvshochbecha uvkumecha, ukshartam leot aliatecha, v'hayu letotafot ben enecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot betecha, uvisharecha, leman tiskeru, v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'yitem kedoshim le'elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Page 157. standing on the parted shores of history. We still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. Page 161. Grant us a place to rest, Adonai, our God, together. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, va'al Yerushalayim. V'shamru on page 162. When we are entirely online and we are including the slides, the PowerPoint slides I have put together, this is the point in the service where I will show the clip, the picture of Abraham Joshua Heschel marching with Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King with the words on the top saying, in Selma, I felt as if my feet were praying. And on the bottom, the words that we find on the top of page 165, pray as if everything depended on God. Act as if everything depended on you. I don't know why our in-person attendance is so small tonight, except that it is a typical immediately after all of the Jewish holidays are over attendance. So I am not surprised, but I do have a hope. I have a hope that wherever you are on Zoom, wherever you are watching us or those who are off island, that you are not with us tonight in this form of prayer. Prayer in Hebrew is avodah, which means work, but the word avodah also means action. So I hope that wherever you are preparing tomorrow morning to join with the dozens and dozens of women's marches that are just the beginning of the action that is going to be needed to protect reproductive choice, to protect women, their bodies, their lives, their choices in our country, which are under assault as has not been the case in many decades. That is my prayer for this night, that there is a fire under the spirit, that Michelle Goldberg's article in the New York Times this morning will simply be wrong. She was worried that we are just plain too burnt out to do what it needs to take. Is that the right phrase? To do what it takes to protect our rights and our freedom. We continue with the Amidah, page 164. As we continue with the Amidah, we rise and we face east. We face the ark. Adonai, Sefatai Tiftach, Ufia, Itehilotecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, El Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Lekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chastei Avot V'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Makeh, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atah Rav L'Hoshia, Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chaim B'Chesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Berofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Micha Mocha Bal Gevurot, Umito Melach, Melech Memit Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, V'roshim b'chol yom yehalalu chasela, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el hakad. We continue in personal prayer, skipping Shalom Ram, and we will come together again for Oseh Shalom in a few minutes. Bottom of 180. You may be seated if you'd like. Ose shalom ben Rama. Uyase shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Imru amen. Yase shalom. Yase shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yase shalom. Yase shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yase shalom. Yase shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yase shalom. Yase shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yase shalom. Yase shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. So just reading the Mishaberach tonight, not singing it for obvious reasons. Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah u'yivarech v'yirapeh et hacholim ha'eleh. O God, who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, send your blessing and your healing, your comfort and your hope to all those whose names appear before us on our service sheet. And in addition to those names, or even including them if you would like, we add the following out loud: those of our loved ones, those of our family, those of our friends, those of our neighbors who are ill and in need of our attention. Michael Krynick, Mindy Bickle, Sandra Rowland, Susie Grubinick, Lisa Ann Gaston. Are there any other names from anyone here for the prayer for healing? And anyone on Zoom would like to add a name?
Aparna Nagpal.
Do we have people on Zoom? How many? 13? Anybody to add a name in the prayer for healing?
Aparna Nagpal.
Bill Ross. I can't usually see the chat unless I have a computer up here. So please unmute and say it out loud. In this case, we did catch it though. Thank you, Rico. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofeh Chalim. We praise you, O God, who helps us heal, who brings us comfort. The Torah portion for this week is Breshit. It is the beginning. We have with Simchat Torah, when we read the end of the book of Deuteronomy and the beginning of the book of Genesis, we have gone back to the beginning. Earlier today, I got to tell the story to some of our visitors here of the question of why was Eve created from Adam's rib. That is a story I will retell as part of Torah study tomorrow morning. It is an endlessly fascinating portion, and the only thing that I will say now is, Gilchrist, I don't know what translation of the Bible you use. Which translation do you use? Several. Okay. So I will tell you that the King James Bible had the Hebrew wrong. It was better English than many other translations, but it was also often wrong. The opening sentence of the Bible, according to Trivial Pursuit, is, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The problem is that Trivial Pursuit and the King James Bible are both incorrect in this regard. If the Bible had wanted to say, in the beginning, God created, it would have said, Barishona, Baro Elohim, et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Of course, there's no punctuation in the Bible. There's no vowels in the Hebrew. So we don't know where one sentence is supposed to end and another, but we don't think that that's the first sentence. As early as Rashi pointed out that the word is actually Bereshit, which means in the beginning of. That's like a linked, it's a conjunctive form. So the question is, in the beginning of what? And so when we go on, it becomes in the beginning of God's creation of the heavens and the earth, dash, the earth being without form and void, dash, the Spirit of God hovered over the face of the deep, period. That's the end of the first Hebrew sentence, probably. Now that's a very, very different idea. When in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, conveys the idea of creatio ex nihilo, creation out of nothing. And the proper reading of the Hebrew, it doesn't require that, but it doesn't rule that out, but it doesn't require it. The actual better translation in better English than in the beginning of God's creation of, the new JPS translation is when God began the creations of the heavens and the earth being without form and void, the Spirit of God hovered over the face of the deep. So there's something there. There is something that pre-exists this act of creation. It is this tohu vavohu. It is this without form and void. It is this sense of the watery deep. And so the act of God is not poof out of magic. By the way, do you know the term, the magic term? Abracadabra? You know that's Aramaic, right? Did you all know that that was Aramaic? Right? When did I realize this? I didn't realize this until Harry Potter. What is the killing curse in Harry Potter? Avada Kedavra. And it just occurred to me when I looked at that, that's Aramaic. It means I will destroy according to my word, as I say, Kedavra, right? And then it occurred to me, like, duh, why didn't I know this? Abra, bara, I will create as according to my word. Abracadabra is an Aramaic incantation, a formula, and linked to the Hebrew as a cognate, a cousin language. And so we have the watery deep, the disorganized, the chaotic. The act of creation that we read about at the beginning of Genesis is not something out of nothing. It is the act of organization. It is the act of separation into categories, light and dark, day and night, sky and land. It is the act of organizing. It is the very notion of straightening your room, of putting things in order, of setting things at right angles so they look neat. This is the fundamental act of creation, of putting the white beans with the white beans, the black beans with the black beans, and of figuring out where things go. And what do we do when we become too rigid about those boundaries? And we see this as us and that as other, then it is time to go back to some of the primordial sense and the reminder that the boundaries that God imposes may be eternal, but the organizing that we do is just our own organizing. It's just the act of human beings. And it is something that we occasionally need to transcend. A boundary, a border. How many of our grandparents came to this country illegally? A border, a definition, a group, a category. It's our act of organizing the world, but it also, we have to remember that there are other ways of looking at the universe. Shabbat Shalom. We have services online tomorrow morning. Services at 10 o'clock online at our Zoom meeting ID. To those of you who are on Zoom, you obviously know what that ID is. To those of you who are here, our Zoom meeting ID is simply the synagogue's telephone number, 340-774-4312. We grabbed that early on, and that has been the meeting ID for all of our synagogue services and programs ever since. So we have services tomorrow at 10 o'clock, about a half-hour long service, followed by the study of the first chapters of the book of Genesis. Tuesday night, we begin our Foundations for a Thoughtful Judaism, Introduction to Judaism class, the first of 6 evening series following the Hartman curriculum. There is a charge for that. I don't want to discuss that on Shabbat, but there is a charge for that, and good learning to come together with us. And next Friday night at 6:30 p.m. again here. Shabbat Shalom. Our service continues with Aleinu. On the bottom of page 586, Jackie and Cal, are you willing to open the Ark doors? Yes, will the two of you open the Ark doors, please? Jeanette, I'll leave you comfortably seated. We continue on the bottom of page 586. And as we open the doors to the Aron HaKodesh, please rise. Aleinu l'shabeach b'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגוב עלינו בכל המונם. ואנחנו בוכים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יתקרב בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו, ושכינתו זו, בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו, באמת מלכנו, אפס וגדולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום מה השבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. You may close the ark doors. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו Light of life is a finite flame. Like Shabbat candles, life is kindled, it burns, it glows. It is radiant with warmth and beauty. But soon it fades, its substance is consumed, and it is no more. Light we see, light we are seen. The flames dance and our life burns down in gutters. There's an end to the flames. We see no more and are no more seen. Yet we do not despair, for we are more than a memory, slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives, we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and life. Remember at this time those of our congregation's beloved whose yard site occurs on this Shabbat. Leslie Cooper, Jacques Faranek, Rita Feldman, Hannah Goldman, Erwin Kalik, M.L. Krasnick, Shirley Lickstein, Elsie Leah Levin Sigelkow, Hannah Hank Simons, David Yalak. We observe yard site of the following Chai members and those dear to our Chai members: Goldie Amoroso, Sal Amoroso, Robert Arbacher, Erwin Baker, Irving Barkan, Lillian Beck, Sabina Blankenstein, David Cohen, Howard Davis, Sivya Donan, Arthur Ellis, Mildred Fenton, Leo Furstenberg, Anne Flaum, Harvey Frumkin, Charles Gordon, Robert Green, Ben Grossman, Molly Gruberg, Nina Henechowitz, Lillian Hockman, Beatrice Holstein, Anna Jeffries, Maxine Keats, Emmanuel Kesner, Lillian Kirschner, Clara Commissar, Yitzhak Laska, Herbert Leon, Leah Levine, Harry Levitt, George Locker, Aaron Lupovich, Jack Lupovich, Etta Mandel, Megan Mellinger, Haste Moak, Norman Mogul, Gerald Hopkins, Rosalind Podgorski, Dr. Edward Powell, Frida Prince, Mashiach Rastagar, Ronald Retton, Irving Rosenblum, Philip Rosenthal, Joseph Rossoff, Andy Rudnick, Jeanette Schmerman, Isidore Schreiber, Joseph Schwartz, Alton Schwadron, Joe Silber, Ben Solomon, Jesse Solomon, Evelyn Stein, Anna Steinberg, Jack Taflin, Irving Tauber, David Treliski, Dr. Victor Tynes Sr., Irving Weiner, Larry Wellen, Minnie Winnick, Sanford Whitlin, Barry Youngerman. During this period of Shloshim, Ann Lubin, Lydia Trotman, Elliot Mack Davis, Norma Feshbach. Is there anyone else to say Kaddish? For somebody whose name I did not mention, I turn first to the congregation here. Anyone on Zoom?
Robert D. Steverson for
Memories
Kaddish.
of all of our loved ones are with us. Our griefs and sympathies mingle as we turn now to Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, page 598. Please rise. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, v'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayei chon u'vyomei chon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbam v'rach le'olam olmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei t'kudusha v'richu. La'ela min kol birachata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, ta'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, u'ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru, amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, in our congregation and wherever they may be, all those who are suffering the pain of loss everywhere at this time of terrible loss and pandemic and plague, and together let us say, amen. Please remain standing, but you'd all better sing because Julie and Gilchrist persuaded me to shift from Od Yavo Shalom to an easier to sing setting of Adon Olam. But I still need your participation and would love to hear everybody's voices, even through the masks. Adon Olam is found on page 600, I believe it's 25 in this Siddur. And we continue not with the Uzi Hidman version, which gets very fast very quickly, but with the setting known as Gurevich, 625 Adon Olam, whenever Gilchrist is ready. Asher I miss the voice of our student cantor, Laney Zell. I miss the voice of our cantorial soloist, my daughter, Talia Feshbach, who will be back in 2 weeks. But I know that our tradition commands us to somehow find our own voices. And so, Shabbat Shalom to each of you and to everyone who is with us and to anyone who watches this later. Shabbat Shalom from my heart, if not from the sound of good music. Shabbat Shalom.